considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview. Welcome to the research talks from Stockbox with Alan Green. Hi Alan, welcome back.
Hello Mark, it's good to be back. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. And you?
Yes, I'm pretty good, thanks. Pretty good. Recovered from my trip to the dentist, which was potentially very painful, but as it turned out, was relatively painless. I wouldn't say pleasant. No trip to the dentist is ever pleasant, but
They're never pleasant.
Certainly was painless anyway.
Oh, good. Well, that's the main thing. Yeah, you're right. They're never pleasant, are they? Dentist experiences. I'm fairly blessed, I think, with my teeth so far, but still, he still likes to give it a clean, and even that's a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? But what you went through, yeah, I don't envy that at all. So I'm pleased that it's over for you and you're recovered. So today we're going to be discussing Coinsilium, and they are listed on the Aquis exchange in the UK under the ticker COIN. That's Coin. They're also listed in the US on the OTCQB market. The ticker there is CINGF. So yeah, what can you tell us about Coinsilium then, Alan?
Coinsilium, indeed, yes. This is Coinsilium were actually the first ever blockchain IPO on the Aquis market in 2015. It's had a very sort of eventful couple of years, and holders will have no doubt seen the spike in the share price at the end of 2020, and of course that continues into this year. So the company currently has a market cap of 10.7 million. Shares are trading at 7p. It's quite a wide spread as I'm currently looking at it. Been as high as 7.6p and as low as 1.5p on the year. So when the company was first set up, it was initially an investor into blockchain ventures and a seed investor into other blockchain companies. The initial investment was a 50,000 seed investment via convertible note into RSK Labs, which was used to fund the Rootstock project, and also represented for RSK Labs the first external investment. RSK it's a smart contract platform initially built as a sidechain of Bitcoin. Basically adds functionality to the Bitcoin network by enabling smart contracts with a two-way peg built in. The team at RSK includes a guy called, or the chief scientific officer is a guy called Sergio Lerner. And Sergio is globally regarded as one of the very best technology experts in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So that was in January 2016. 2017, moving on, of course, was a very much a boom year for the initial coin offerings. You'll no doubt remember many of those taking place, Mark, and was also a boom year for token sales, in which Coinsilium did very well, both as an investor and an advisor in these events. In particular, the Coinsilium had success with an investment called Endorse. That's INDORSE. Coinsilium invested a total value of around 250,000, including their initial investment and option exercise, into Endorse. And Endorse is a global network of well over 400 developers. Their role is to assess technology coding skills for blockchain developers, and in addition to this, they run hackathons for global clients. Hackathons, of course, it's a collaborative programming exercise, bringing a large number of programmers together to solve complex issues rapidly, and they've worked for clients such as Rolls-Royce, Dell, Grab, and the Gibraltar government, amongst others. As Endorse developed, it received further investment from none other than Times of India. And of course, Times of India run the Economic Times and Times of India itself, which effectively gave Coinsilium a 3.5 times increase on or uplift on its initial investment level. So that also represented a very sound development and investment for Coinsilium at that point. During the time, Coinsilium also helped other clients develop in the crypto arena, including Icon, HD, HDAC, and Phantom. It helped these clients raise in the region of $500 million in token sales, and of course, Coinsilium earned from this earned retainer fees and success fees, which are stored, of course, in cryptocurrency and held, and most of which is still held in the crypto account today. Its first significant exit came toward the end of that year, 2017. It exited from crypto payments aggregator Satoshi Pay, and from that, Coinsilium raised 725,000 euros, which represented 360% return in just 18 months. So clearly, this was very much in the as the market was emerging, we were seeing a lot of valuations grow and increase dramatically, and Coinsilium was right in amongst this. We move on now to 2018, and November of that year, IOV Labs acquired the entire share capital of RSK Labs, including the Coinsilium shareholding, and basically the transaction was a token swap. Coinsilium received 2 million RIF tokens, and RIF stands for the RSK Infrastructure Framework, which basically allows token holders to consume and use services on the RIF architecture. So Coin got 2 million RIF tokens for its initial investment of 65,000 shares in RSK. These tokens are vesting over 4 years. Coinsilium have already invested 50% of those tokens. Malcolm Pele then moved onto the IOV Labs board. CEO Eddie Travier became a special advisor to IOV Labs. Moving into 2019, Coinsilium moved to Gibraltar, set up a wholly owned subsidiary called Coinsilium Gibraltar Limited, and part of the reason was that Gibraltar offered a high level of regulatory certainty for blockchain and crypto activities, and it was well documented, of course, that a lot of governments at the time weren't happy with the way cryptocurrency was developing, and in some cases, they were running into problems with the regulators in those countries, or worse still, some countries were outright banning cryptocurrencies altogether. In 2019, as I say, that move was made, but really the pivotal year for Coinsilium as a company, and it didn't really, the recognition of those developments didn't take place until really a few months ago, in December. IOV Labs then invested 250,000 into Coinsilium via a private placement at 2.6p. At the same time, it established a joint venture operation in Singapore to promote and commercialize the RSK services into Asian markets. CEO Eddie Travier was appointed joint venture director, and also regional director for IOV for the Asian region. Middle of the year, Coinsilium undertook a strategic review, and it was decided to offload the portfolio of investments that Coinsilium had made. It's the holding company, so the company holding the investment, Seedcoin Limited, also moved from the British Virgin Islands to Gibraltar in preparation for the future transactions that the company would make. And on the back of the strong growth in decentralized finance and crypto finance applications, it was decided to align Coinsilium with IOV Labs to capitalize on the new opportunities in open finance and crypto finance. So Coinsilium pivoted to become a focused blockchain, DeFi and crypto finance venture operator, and the market in DeFi and crypto finance has grown hugely, and at the same time just offers nebulous. It's such a nebulous marketplace that there are huge opportunities to take advantage of. which of course Coinsilium recognised and started to put a plan of action in place.
Mm-hmm.
So we then come to December last year when things really started to take off. IOV made a second investment with 330,000 at 3p. Also received one warrant for every 2 shares. So the net result is IOV now holds just over 20 million shares in Coinsilium, value of 13.9% of the company. It also means Coinsilium is funded for all its activities through to January 2022,
mm-hmm.
which will certainly give comfort to investors in the company. IOV Asia will become operational in Q1 this year, and of course Eddie Travier, the CEO, will relocate to Singapore to drive that forward as and when COVID restrictions are lifted. But the first step made was an agreement with Red Fox Labs in Vietnam to develop a range of digital collectible and virtual assets, or to develop a digital collectible and virtual asset marketplace using non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Now, NFTs they're used to digitize assets and also used to bridge the gap between physical and digital assets. There's a very good website, nonfungible.com, which outlines the developments that have taken place there. The website says that the most popular applications are in gaming, in sport collectibles, art, and of course the virtual reality space. And I was fascinated to see whilst looking on there that none other than Captain Kirk, William Shatner, has tokenized his memories and images on the Wax blockchain. He's tokenized those into NFTs, so of course they can be bought, sold, and traded going forward. So the fact that somebody of William Shatner's advanced years recognizes the potential in NFTs is I think should be very reassuring for investors, despite the fact that Captain Kirk is probably something of a Marmite person, but that's another story altogether. In December 2020, the aggregate sales volume of non-fungible tokens was just over $8 million, which is a fourfold increase from December 2019. So non-fungible tokens, they're effectively certificates of authenticity, which give proof of ownership for an asset. And of course, in this space, we know blockchain provides immutable record keeping, and once that record's there, it's made, it can't be changed. So this has materialized, as I say, in a number of areas, but really I think the best example of the digitization of assets was demonstrated in 2019. The Austrian Post Office issued a series of limited edition collectible NFT stamps, non-fungible token stamps. So you had the physical stamp, which was attached to a digital NFT. This was hugely successful, sold out within days. It was then followed last year in 2020 by an offering from the UN Postal Administration, Croatian Post as well. And the first step forward for the newly pivoted Coinsilium is an agreement with the Gibraltar Philatelic Bureau to create limited edition cryptocurrency postage stamps, which are also tied to the release of a non-fungible token counterpart. And these will be for sale online via Gibraltar Stamps and, of course, other dealers. This will go live in Q2 of this year. So that really it's a hugely important step forward for Coinsilium at that point. And of course, Coinsilium will earn a commission from each transaction that goes through, and it's such a nebulous subject. There's so many possible applications in this marketplace. I mean, we were discussing some ideas before we came on air, Mark, weren't we, about how this could be used for physical assets. I think Coinsilium is at an incredibly exciting juncture, and it's certainly the media independently are saying that NFTs will be the space to watch in 2021. So the company itself, Coinsilium, we mentioned I mentioned or we discussed earlier the initial investments made by the company, book value of something like 2.5 million, but of course they will be worth considerably more from that. In its work, in its activities, both as advisor and in receiving success fees. The success fees were paid in cryptocurrency, and currently Coinsilium owns crypto that's worth has a book value of $1 million, but it's estimated it could be worth a lot more than that given the recent moves in Bitcoin, although of course that movement goes both ways, as we know. The company is also backed by large shareholders, which is reassuring for investors. And of course, it's got a relatively small number of shares in circulation, 150 million shares with 5 million in treasury, and it's got currently the lowest market cap in the sector. Just a bit on the board, of course, Malcolm Pelly, the chairman and co-founder. He founded a mobile value-add service called CMBP in 1989. Probably best known amongst investors for his work with Mining Maven. Of course, Mining Maven is a well-known website for the mining resource space. Eddie Travier, the CEO and co-founder, launched Seedcoin and funded several well-known products, as we've already discussed. Eddie's currently Hong Kong-based and has extensive equity in the space and also extensive private equity experience too. Two non-execs on the board: Tony Sarin, who founded SoftTechNet, which he sold to New Media Spark, and has extensive experience. Also worked on the 2012 Olympics. He founded a company called Numerica, which he sold to BDO Story Hayward and Vantis PLC, and is basically a serial entrepreneur in that space. And also Craig Brown, who we've spoken about many times, as CEO of ECR Minerals. Craig is a non-exec director and has a great history in bringing companies to market and also developing companies in the mining sector. But I think as an investment opportunity and proposition for the space, I think Coinsilium offers a really rounded opportunity to investors to get in and also to take advantage not only of the existing investments that we've discussed, but there's real blue sky upside here with the development of non-fungible tokens. And if you Google non-fungible tokens and do your research, there is so much out there, and there's a huge number of opportunities, number one. But I think Coinsilium, with its experience, is going to be investing and getting and building the very best platforms out there to take advantage of this. So I think it's a real opportunity for and particularly if you're a technology investor, this is something that you really should have in your portfolio.
Okay, very interesting, isn't it? This idea of digitizing assets.
It really is, and I think, as we said beforehand, you could look at any field. I mean, it's, as we've said, it's popular in art and sports, music as well. Of course, anything that's in the virtual space. But then, of course, translating something physical, for example, houses, property, and
exactly.
Is there a way to use this without and to monetize that or digitize that asset, and also bypass all of the border restrictions that you'd have with using centralized finance.
Exactly, and I guess in terms of moving that asset around, I mean, instant, surely.
That's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
It's well, firstly, it's on the blockchain, so it's secure. It's a mutable record, and secondly, as you say, it's instantaneous. It bypasses the transactions that we're used to doing and we're conditioned to doing. It changes all that.
Well, this is a light bulb moment for me. I mean, and we've spoken a lot before, Alan, haven't we, about blockchain technology companies and the uses that the blockchain can be applied for. That is not just crypto and the actual Bitcoin and Ethereum, the actual tokens. It's far, far more that technology can be used for. And I've just thought, if I want to sell my house, do you want to buy my house? How long would it take normally for that to go through the system? Very long time, lots of fees, lots of rubbish you've got to go through. But if you could digitize something like that with like an NFT, a non-fungible token, well, how much simpler is that going to be?
I think it makes absolute sense, and we live in a fast-moving world,
Yeah,
and
we do.
communication is instantaneous now. Everything's done rapidly, and yet when it comes to moving these physical assets, it's a protracted, heinous process, and I think something like this could speed that up instantly. I suppose, yeah. If it comes to property, yeah, I could sell you my house. You could buy my house.
Yeah.
You could take a physical asset that's hard to move and split it up, and say create several thousand non-fungible tokens, each of which represents a chunk of that asset, and away you go.
Yeah, and I think with the young as well, they don't have time. It's all about instant gratification, isn't it? And getting things done with speed. You look at the challenger banks that have risen, recently, and how quickly you can set up a new bank account or a new business bank account compared to a traditional high street bank. It's people aren't going to want to do that. Not the generation upcoming, for sure. So this stamp that they're doing with the Gibraltar Philatelic Bureau, it's a hard one to say. Is that's like a trial then of this technology, like an initial stage, is it?
Well, it's already been done, of course, by Austrian Post and UN Post and Croatia Post. But but given that Coinsilium are of course have relocated to Gibraltar, they have the technology to do it. So I mean, given that the Austrian Post offering sold out in days, I think it's I think it just adds a whole new dimension to stamp collection, doesn't it? It's, you've got the stamp and you've got the digital version too. I mean, that's fascinating, and it's just the way you sit in your office and look around your office. How many of those items hanging on the wall, or the items you see sitting around, could you then digitize and turn into a non-fungible token? That I think is the fascinating part of it. Wine. Why not wine?
Exactly. Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Well, fascinating. It's great. Something a bit different there than Alan for us on Research Talks. But thank you very much for talking to us there about Coinsilium, and it's Aquis Exchange, isn't it? So that's where I think you have to go to.
It's Aquis.
Yeah, Aquis Exchange. Right, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Alan, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.